races from the weekend, including the Daytona 500. We will go over the last of the Olympics from the weekend. We will go over the results from the Genesis Open, NBA All-Star Weekend, NHL, college basketball news and notes, and best bet. We're going to start with NASCAR, and we're going to begin with the Daytona 500, which was a wild finish to that race. And your winner of the Daytona 500 was the number 2 car, Austin Cindric. So that is really cool to see somebody new win this race. Very happy for him making the jump to the big boy races this year. So, Austin Cindric, congratulations. Second, Bubba Wallace. Third, Chase Briscoe. He was my pick to have a breakout year this year in NASCAR. Fourth, Ryan Blaney. Fifth, Eric Almirola. Sixth, Kyle Busch. Seventh, Michael McDowell. Eighth, David Reagan. Ninth, Brad Keselowski. 10th, Chase Elliott. And then the rest, Ty Dillon, Daniel Hemrick, Martin Truex Jr., Corey LaJoie, Landon Castle, Chris Buescher, Cody Ware, Daniel Suarez, Kurt Busch, Cole Custer, Joey Logano, Jaquez Villanueva, Justin Haley, Alec Bowman, Austin Dillon, Kaz Gralla, B.J. McLeod, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Eric Jones, Kevin Harvick, Noah Gragson, Kyle Larson, Todd Gilliland, Chris Bell, Tyler Riddick, Greg Biffle, Denny Hamlin, William Byron, Harrison Burton, and Ross Chasen. All right, we're going to work our way backwards with the NASCAR. We're going to do Xfinity next. The Beef It's What's for Dinner 300, and your winner of that race was Austin Hill. Coming in second was A.J. Allmendinger. Third, Noah Gragson. Fourth, Riley Herbst. Fifth, Justin Allgaier. Sixth, Sheldon Creed. Seventh, Anthony Alfredo. Ninth, Ryan Sieg. Eighth, Ryan Sieg. Ninth, Josh Bilicki. 10th, Brandon Brown. And then the rest, Ty Gibbs, Ryan Truex, J.J. Yaley, Landon Castle, Jeremy Earnhardt, Josh Berry, Brandon Jones, Ryan Vargas, Jeb Burton, Bailey Curry, Kyle Sieg, Myatt Snyder, Jay Buford, Tommy Joe Martins, Matt Mills, Joey Gase, Jesse Wuji, Daniel Hemrick, Joe Graf Jr., Sam Meyer, Josh Williams, Kyle Weatherman, Shane Lee, Brett Moffitt, TJ McLaughlin, Drew Dollar, Jeremy Clements, and Cesar Barcarella. And now the Camping World Truck Series from Friday night. The Next Era Energy 250. Your winner of this race, Zane Smith. Second, Ben Rhodes. Third, Christian X. Fourth, Tanner Gray. Fifth, Parker Kligerman. Sixth, Jesse Little. Seventh, Ty Majeski. Eighth, Daniel Bone. 9, Carson Hosfar. 10th, Matt DiBenedetto. The rest, Spencer Boyd, Riley Herbst, Austin Wayne South, Timmy Hill, Austin Hill, Stuart Friesen, Haley Deegan, Thad Moffitt, Chris Wright, Jason White, Chandler Smith, Taylor Fogelman, Brian Dezotte, Joe Nemechek, Lawless Allen, Derek Kraus, Matt Crafton, Tyler Ankrum, Grant Effinger, Colby Howard, Blaine Perkins, Corey Heim, Jack Wood, Johnny Sauter, Brett Holmes, and Dean Thompson. All right, so those are your NASCAR results for the weekend. And next weekend, they'll be racing at Auto Club Speedway in California. So it's only going to be Cup and Xfinity next weekend. All right, next up, we're going to go over the results from the Genesis Open and in golf. It was an interesting weekend in PGA. And your winner of the Genesis Open was Joaquin Niemann with 19 under. Tied for second with 17 under, Colin Morikawa and Cam Young. Fourth place tie with 14 under, Adam Scott and Victor Hovland. Sixth place with 13 under, Justin Thomas. Tied for seventh with 12 under, Scotty Scheffler and Maverick McNeely. Ninth place with 11 under is Cheng Sung Pan. Tied for 10th with 10 under, Ches Reavie, Rory McIlroy, and Max Homa. Tied for 13th with 9 under, Xander Schauffele and Cam Triangle. Tied for 15th with 8 under, Mark Leishman, Matt Jones, Mito Pereira, Paul Casey, Seb Straka, and Robert McIntyre. Tied for 21st with 7 under, Danny Lee, Emiliano Grillo, John Rahm, Sebastian Munoz, and Taylor Moore. Tied for 26th with 6 under, Jordan Spieth, Jason Kokrak, Sam Ryder, Peter Malnati, Kang-Hoo Lee, Walter Zalatoris, and Dylan Fratelli. Tied for 33rd with 5 under, Tony Finau, Sanjay M, Cam Smith, Russell Knox, Ryan Henley, and Patrick Cantlay. Tied for 39th with 4 under, it's a big group here. Lucas Hodges, Evan Van Rooyen, Sergio Garcia, Pat Perez, Martin Laird, Abraham Ancer, Hideki Matsuyama, Carlos Ortiz, and Lucas Griffin. Tied for 48th with 3 under, Alex Loren, Keegan Bradley, Adam Putnam, Kevin Tway, Sahith Theegla, Brett Hostler, B.O. Hostler, and Cam Davis. Tied for 55th with 2 under, Matthew Naismith, Henry Higgs, Jonathan Vegas, Nick Watney, Ricky Fowler, and Francesco Molinari. Tied for 61st with 1 under, Patton Kizzire, James Hahn, Doc Redman, Brock Stewart, Sam Piercy, and Aaron Ray. Tied for 67th at even, Cam Champ, Aaron Weiss, Matt Kuchar, and Hank Labodia. Now the notables. 71st with 1 over Charlie Hoffman. 73rd with 3 over Siwoo Kim. 74th with 4 over Joel Dahman. 75th with 6 over Adam Long. And among those caught Vincent Whaley, JT Potson, Luke Liss, Corey Connors, Seamus Power, Bubba Watson, Keith Hickok, Dustin Johnson, Mackenzie Hughes, Kyle Stanley, Scott Stallings, Adam Schenk, Taylor Hogue, Brooks Koepka, Patrick Rogers, Adam Hadwin, JJ Spawn, Troy Merritt, Brendan Steele, Doug Gim, Henrik Norlander, Jason Hadley, Roger Sloan, Ryan Palmer, Matt Wallace, Taylor Gooch, Charles Schwartzel, Wyndham Clark. And the next golf tournament is the Honda Classic, which is next weekend from the PGA National Resort and Spa, the Champion Course. And we will get into this on the podcast later in the week. All right, Olympics. We will go over how the rest of the Beijing Games went down. And we are going to begin with the Saturday action from Beijing. So the bobsleigh, the 2-woman heat for the bronze went to Elena Taylor-Myers of USA. The silver went to Marima Jamanika of Germany. And the gold went to Laura Notel of Germany. Cross country, the men's 50-kilometer mass start free. The bronze went to Simen Hegstad Kruger of Norway. The silver went to Ivan Yamishkinin of ROC. And the gold went to Alexander Bolshanov of ROC. Curling, the women's bronze medal game, Sweden over Switzerland 9-7. The men's gold medal game, Sweden over Great Britain 5-4. figure skating, the pair skating, free skating. The bronze going to Alexander Galimov and Anastasia Manisha of ROC. The silver going to Vladimir Morozov and Evgenia Tarasova of ROC. And the gold going to Kong Han and Wenjing Sui of China. Freestyle skiing, the men's free ski halfpipe final run 3. The bronze going to Alex Ferreira of USA. The silver going to David Weiss of USA. And the gold going to Nico Porteris of New Zealand. Hockey, men's bronze medal game, Slovakia over Sweden 4-0. Speed skating, the women's mass start final. The bronze going to Francesca Valabriga of Italy. The silver going to Ivani Blondin of Canada. And the gold going to Irene Schouten of the Netherlands. The bronze going to, in the men's mass start final, Seung-hoon Lee of Korea. The silver going to Jaewon Chung of Korea. And the gold going to Bart Swings of Belgium. And then Sunday's action in Beijing, which was the final day of the Olympics. Alpine skiing, the mixed team parallel big final. The bronze going to Norway, the silver going to Germany, and the gold going to Austria. The bobsleigh, the four-man heat 4, the bronze going to Justin Cripps of Canada, the silver going to Johannes Lochner of Germany, and the gold going to Francesco Fiederich of Germany. Cross-country skiing, the women's 30-kilometer mass start free. The bronze going to Kerttu Niskanen of Finland, the silver going to Jessie Diggins of USA, and the gold going to Therese Johaug of Norway. Curling, the women's gold medal game, Great Britain over Japan, 10-3. Hockey, men's gold medal game, Finland over ROC, 2-1. And that was it for the Beijing Games of 2022. Now we'll go over NBA All-Star Weekend, which was a very fun game. It was a fun weekend, and we'll just go over everything that happened. So we'll start with Friday night, the Celebrity All-Star Game. So the winner was Team Walton over Team Neek, 65-51. And Alex Toussaint, the Peloton instructor, took home the MVP award with 18 points. The Rising Stars Challenge. It was an interesting show, to say the least. So Team Isaiah defeated Team Worthy 50-49. Team Barry defeated Team Peyton 50-48. And Team Barry over Team Isaiah 25-20. And your MVP was Cade Cunningham. The Skills Challenge. The Team Cavs won of Jared Allen, Darius Garland, and Evan Mobley. So that was a lot of fun. The 3-point contest, your winner was Karl Anthony Towns. Had a 29 in the final round, defeating Trae Young and Luke Kennard. The Slam Dunk contest, your winner was Obi Toppin of the New York Knicks, getting a final round score of a 92. And Juan Toscano Anderson was your runner-up. And then your All-Star Game final. Team LeBron over Team Durant, 163-160. Fun game. The new format works. Team LeBron 5-0 in the new format. And the MVP of the game with a whopping 50 points, including 16 three-pointers, Stephen Curry. And yours truly had a 9-1 wager on Stephen Curry to win the All-Star Game MVP. So that was a nice hit for me last night. All right, now we'll go to the NHL. We'll recap everything from the weekend, and we will look ahead to the games being played tonight. So we'll begin with Friday night. Hurricanes over the Predators 5-3. Panthers over the Wild 6-2. Stars over the Blackhawks 1-0 in a shootout. And the Kings over the Golden Knights 4-3 in overtime. Saturday, Avs over the Sabres 5-3. Oilers over the Jets 4-2. Bruins over the Senators 3-2 in overtime. Blues over the Maple Leafs 6-3. Kings over the Coyotes 5-3. Flames over the Kraken 2-1. And the Ducks over the Canucks 7-4. Sunday, Hurricanes over the Penguins 4-3. Canadiens over the Islanders 3-2 in a shootout. Panthers over the Blackhawks 5-2. Rangers over the Senators 2-1. Blue Jackets over the Sabres 7-3. Coyotes over the Stars 3-1. Wild over the Oilers 7-3. And the Golden Knights over the Sharks 4-1. And now today's games. At 1 o'clock, you have the Avalanche and the Bruins from TD Garden. There's a lot of matinee games today because of the President's Day holiday. The Bruins are a plus 146 underdog. Colorado's minus 198 over under 6. Overs minus 114, unders minus 106. Avs minus 1.5 is plus 148. Boston plus 1.5 is minus 24. I know the Avs are so good. They're everybody's darling. 8-1-1 their last 10, but I just have a feeling here about Boston coming through at home. Give me the Bruins plus 146. This could be the pick that could just kill me today. 3 o'clock, the Hurricanes and the Flyers from Philadelphia. The Canes minus 215, Phillies are plus 176, over under 6. Overs minus 118, unders minus 104. Canes minus 1.5 is plus 120, Flyers plus 1.5 is minus 148. I'm going over 6 minus 118. 4 o'clock, Jets Flames from Calgary. Flames minus 235, Jets plus 190, over under 6. Overs minus 114, unders minus 106. Jets plus 1.5 is minus 142. Flames minus 1.5 is plus 116. I'm going to go with an over in this game as well. 7 o'clock, the Maple Leafs and the Canadiens. Montreal is plus 270. Maple Leafs minus 350. Over under 6.5. Overs minus 105. Unders minus 115. Leafs minus 1.5 is plus 134. Canadiens plus 1.5 is plus 110. I'm going to go with my third consecutive over here. I just think this is an over game, despite it being a rivalry game. And the Kraken and the Canucks at 10 o'clock. The Canucks are minus 178. The Kraken are plus 146. Over under 6. Overs minus 104. Unders minus 118. Kraken plus 1.5 is minus 188. Canucks minus 1.5 is plus 152. For this game, this is a tough one for me. I'm going to go with something different here. Vancouver in regulation minus 110. Vancouver is still kind of alive in the wild card hunt in the West. They are, as things stand right now, 7 back. Never mind, they're out of it. But they're just better than Seattle. So just go with them in regulation, just to do something different. All right, college basketball. We'll go over all the games from last night and look ahead to everything going on tonight. Friday, St. John's over Butler 91-57, Princeton over Round 69-50, Yale over Penn 81-72, Dartmouth over Cornell 71-59, Harvard over Columbia 62-54, Detroit over Northern Kentucky 60-52, VCU over Richmond 77-57, Marist over Siena 62-53, St. Peter's over Fairfield 70-59, Monmouth over Rider 60-58, Kent State over Ohio 75-52, Purdue, Fort Wayne over Green Bay 74-55, Cleveland State over Milwaukee 78-61, Rice State over Oakland 78-74, Maryland over Nebraska 90-74, and Mississippi State over Missouri 68-49. Saturday, number 7 Baylor over TCU 72-62, number 12 Illinois over number 19 Michigan State 79-74, number 24 UConn over Xavier 72-61, Tulsa over South Florida 65-57, Holy Cross over Navy 55-50, Syracuse over BC 76-56, Vermont over UMBC 86-59, UMass over LaSalle 80-74, Furman over Wofford 70-69, number 11 Texas Tech over number 20 Texas 61-55, number 4 Kentucky over Alabama, number 25 Alabama 90-81, UTEP over Southern Miss 84-70, Wagner over Central Con 78-68, Bryan over Fairleigh Dickinson 105-93, Wake over Notre Dame 79-74, Southern Illinois over Indiana State 76-72, Dayton over St. Joe 74-62, East Tennessee State over the Citadel 77-67, Niagara over Canisius 65-54, Ole Miss over Georgia, 85-68. Colgate over Boston University, 72-53. Florida upsets number 2 Auburn, 63-62. Howard over Morgan State, 68-66. American over Army, 83-67. Radford over High Point, 66-64. Oklahoma State over Kansas State, 82-79. Iowa State over Oklahoma, 75-54. Youngstown State over IUPUI, 74-61. Valpo over Evansville, 72-56. Bradley over Illinois State, 72-64. Oral Roberts over North Dakota, 87-73. UMKC over North Dakota State, 85-71. Western Carolina over Mercer, 69-65. Hofstra over Northeastern, 76-73. Iowa over number 18, Ohio State, 75-62. Tarleton over Chicago State, 79-60. Merrimack over Sacred Heart, 80-79. Louisville over Clemson, 70-61. Arkansas State over Texas Arlington, 58-49. Georgia State over Georgia Southern, 58-49. South Dakota State over St. Thomas, Minnesota, 79-60. Sanford over UNC Greensboro, 55-49. Akron over Eastern Michigan, 67-48. Davidson over St. Louis, 79-58. South Carolina over LSU, 77-75. Number 23, Arkansas over number 16, Tennessee, 58-48. Number 22, Wyoming over Air Force, 75-67. Bucknell over Lafayette, 92-89 in overtime. Alabama A&M over Bethune-Cookman, 62-60. UC Irvine over Hawaii, 77-52. Southeast Missouri State over Moore State, 92-84. Tennessee State over Eastern Illinois, 63-49. Alcorn State over Jackson State, 61-60. North Texas over UAB, 58-57. Middle Tennessee over FAU, 87-79. Montana State over Southern Utah, 76-71. Nichols over Houston Baptist, 84-70. Seattle over Cal Baptist, 67-64. Stephen F. Austin over Lamar, 70-56. St. Fran Brooklyn over St. Fran PA, 80-72 in overtime. LA over Mount St. Mary, 66-61. Gardner Webb over Presbyterian, 76-68. North Carolina over Virginia Tech, 65-57. Albany over New Hampshire, 70-65. Coastal Carolina over Troy, 73-63. VMI over Chattanooga, 80-75. Drexel over Alon, 71-60. Delaware over William & Mary, 73-69. Towson over Charleston, 80-77. Buffalo over Western Michigan, 87-73. Minnesota over Northwestern, 77-60. NC Central over Delaware State, 84-79 in overtime. Florida A&M over Alabama State, 86-83 in overtime. SC State over Maryland Eastern, 70-63. Number 21, Murray State over Tennessee Martin, 62-60. Winthrop over UNC Asheville, 84-79. Campbell over NC&T, 64-63. Lipscomb over North Alabama, 75-72. App State over South Alabama, 69-51. Miami of Ohio over Northern Illinois, 78-75. Norfolk State over Coppin State, 89-59. Number 10, Villanova over Georgetown, 74-66. Texas Southern over Mississippi Valley State, 79-59. Incarnate Word over Southeast Louisiana, 92-84. Belmont over SIU Evansville, 73-62. Tennessee Tech over Austin Peay, 73-69. New Orleans over McNeese, 88-75. Virginia over Miami, 74-71. Binghamton over UMass Lowell, 78-64. North Florida over Florida Gulf Coast, 70-64. Texas State over Little Rock, 68-50. South Dakota over Western Illinois, 78-65. Ball State over Bowling Green, 91-82. SC Upstate over Charleston Southern, 78-73 in overtime. Stony Brook over Hartford, 88-82. Number 9, Duke over Florida State, 88-70. Utah over Cal, 60-58. A&M Corpus Christi over Northwestern State, 83-76. Penn over Brown, 89-88. Jacksonville over Kennesaw State, 58-56. Drake over Loyola Chicago, 83-76. George Washington over Rhode Island, 72-61. St. Bonaventure over Duquesne, 81-55. Vandy over A&M, 72-67. Boise over Utah State, 68-57. Prairie View over Arkansas Pine Bluff, 92-84. Grambling over Southern, 61-57. Idaho over Eastern Washington, 83-80. Rice over FIU, or vice versa, FIU over Rice, 80-78. Western Kentucky over Old Dominion, 73-64. Louisiana Tech over UTSA, 95-71. Charlotte over Marshall, 99-84. Longwood over Hampton, 76-72. Georgia Tech over Pitt, 68-62. Princeton over Yale, 81-75. Harvard over Cornell, 77-72 in overtime. Dartmouth over Columbia, 79-50. Liberty over Stetson, 88-82. UIC over Robert Morris, 96-88 in overtime. UNC Wilmington over James Madison, 78-77 in overtime. Toledo over Central Michigan, 68-66. Central Arkansas over Eastern Kentucky, 83-76. Number 6, Kansas over West Virginia, 71-58. Arizona State over Oregon State, 73-53. UC Riverside over Cal Poly, 78-58. UC Davis over Cal Bakersfield, 81-79. Seton Hall over DePaul, 66-64. Northern Colorado over Weber State, 83-79. Sac State over Idaho State, 80-75. New Mexico State over Grand Canyon, 82-66. Sam Houston over Texas Rio Grande, 67-61. Portland over Pepperdine, 77-74. Louisiana over Yale Monroe, 79-74. UNLV over Colorado State, 72-51. Number 1, Gonzaga over Santa Clara, 81-69. Dixie State over Utah Valley, 80-75 in overtime. Number 3, Arizona over Oregon, 84-81 in regulation. I thought I said overtime. But I think that's where game day was this weekend. In Arizona. Number 13, UCLA over Washington, 76-50. Pacific over Loyola Marymount, 69-68. Colorado over Stanford, 76-53. UC Santa Barbara over Long Beach State, 84-71. Cal State Fullerton over Cal State Northridge, 81-73. St. Mary's over BYU, 69-64. And San Diego State over Fresno State, 61-44. Sunday's results. Number 8, Providence over Butler, 71-70 in overtime. Number 14, Houston over Wichita State, 76-74 in double overtime. Number 15, Wisconsin over Michigan, 77-63. Maine over NJIT, 65-61. Detroit over Wright State, 80-75. Iona over Fairfield, 76-58. Temple over Cincinnati, 75-71. UCF over East Carolina, 69-66. Purdue Fort Wayne over Milwaukee, 81-71. Northern Iowa over Missouri State, 95-75. Marist over Quinnipiac, 67-66. Siena over St. Peter's, 84-70. Rider loses at Manhattan, 84-78 in overtime. Fordham over George Mason, 50-47. SMU over Memphis, 73-57. Creighton over Marquette, 83-82. Northern Kentucky over Oakland, 71-66. Cleveland State over Green Bay, 79-67. San Jose State over New Mexico, 71-55. Hartford over Stony Brook, 74-70. Loyola Maryland over Lehigh, 69-42. Number 5, Purdue over Rutgers, 84-72. Jacksonville State over Bellarmine, 82-67. Number 17, USC over Wazoo, 62-60. And Mississippi State over Missouri, 58-56. Now we look ahead to tonight's games. 6:30, you have American and Colgate. My projection is Colgate 15.5, total 139.65. And we got 16.5 and 138.5. Numbers are dead on. Slight over. Fox Sports 1, 7 o'clock, Indiana at number 18, Ohio State. My projection is Ohio State by 8, total 138.15, and it is 6.5 and 135 over. Liberty in Central Arkansas. My projection is Liberty by 17, total 146.1. And it's 11.5 and 149.5. Laying the points. Holy Cross Lafayette. My projection is Lafayette 5.5, total 137.1. And 6.5 and 136.5. Slight Holy Cross. UTEP at Middle Tennessee. My projection is middle by 2, total 138.4. And we got 5.5 and 137.5. I'm taking UTEP in the points. Georgia Tech and Syracuse. My projection is Syracuse 11, total 144.4, and it's 9 and 146.5. Tough one. Slight under. Florida State and Boston College on ACC Network. My projection is FSU by 14.5, total 138.45, and it is 1 and 136.5. I'm laying the one with Florida State. Coppin State Howard on ESPNU. My projection is Howard 9.5, total 144.8, and it is 7.5 and 150.5 under. ESPN Louisville, North Carolina. My projection is Carolina by 12.5, total 143.9, and it is 9 and 144. I'm taking UNC State. ESPN 2 Penn, Maryland. My projection is Maryland 9.5, total 135.75, and it is 2.5 and 129.5. Now the question is, where do you go? You have two viable options. I'm going to lay the 2.5 in Maryland. 7:30, Norfolk State and Morgan State. My projection for this game is Norfolk by 12, total 143. And we got 4.5 and 145.5. I'm laying the 4.5 in Norfolk. Bama A&M, Florida A&M. My projection is Florida A&M by 11.5, total 130.55. And it's 5.5 and 124.5. Over. Maryland Eastern and NC Central. My projection is Central by a whopping 25, total 137.3. And it's 5.5 and 139.5. I'm laying this 5.5 at NC Central. Easy. Delaware State and SEC. My projection is SEC 10.5, total 140-25. And we got here 10.5 and 136.5. Over. 8 o'clock, West Virginia, TCU. My projection is a pick and 133.4. And we got TCU by 4, total 133.5. I'm going to take the 4 with West Virginia. No, they're not going to win. I just think it's close. Marshall, Southern Miss. My projection is Marshall 9.5, total 145.1. And it's 5.5 and 152.5. I'm going to take the under. Citadel, Sanford. My projection is Sanford 8.25, total 151.35. And we got 7 and 158. Under. Eastern Illinois and SIU Edwardsville. It's a makeup game from February 3rd. My projection is Edwardsville 8.25, total 133.15. It's 8.5 and 125.5. Over. Idaho State and Northern Colorado. My projection is Northern Colorado 13, total 143.9. And we got 13.5 and 144.5. Oof. Slight under. Indiana State and Drake. My projection is Drake by 22.75, total 141.7. And we got 10.5 and 141.5. Laying the points with Drake. Loyola, Chicago, and Illinois State. My projection is Loyola by 22.75, total 144.5. And we got 8.5 and 139.5. I'm laying the points with Loyola. Southern Utah and Northern Arizona. My projection is Northern as a 13.5 underdog, total 146.5. And we got 6.5 and 144.5. I'm laying the points with Southern Utah. Evansville and Valparaiso. My projection is Valpo by 6.75, total 134.35. And it's 8.5 and 124.5. Over. Texas Southern and Arkansas Pine Bluff at 8:30. My projection is Southern by 25, total 137.45. And we got 8.5 and 136.5. Laying the points. Prairie View and Miss Valley State. My projection is Prairie View by 23, total 149.65. And we got 7.5 and 152.5. And laying the points. 9 o'clock, ESPN number 7 Baylor at Oklahoma State. My projection is Baylor 14.5, total 138.9. And it's 4.5 and 138.5. I'm laying the 4.5 of Baylor. Fox Sports 1 Arizona State at number 13 UCLA. My projection is UCLA by 18.5, total 137.85. And it's 13.5 and 133. I'm going to lay the points with UCLA. ESPNU Alabama State Bethune-Cookman. My projection is Bama State by 1, total 136.3. And it's Bethune-Cookman by 2, total 134.5. I'm going to take the 2 with Alabama State and plus the 105 to win outright. San Francisco and Pacific. My projection is San Francisco by 16.75, so 138.05. And it's 13.5 and 136.5. Laying the points. And last but not least, New Mexico State and Seattle at 10. My projection is New Mexico State by 6, total 140.95. Now it's 2.5 and 142.5. I'm going to lay the 2.5 with New Mexico State on the road. All right, now we'll do news and notes, and we are going to start with something related to college basketball. It was ugly. There was a huge brawl in the Michigan-Wisconsin game as Juwan Howard started a fight, and he got into it after Howard swung at an opposing staff member. And Howard said he didn't appreciate the Badgers calling a late timeout. And he said it wasn't fair to their guys. And apparently words were said before Juwan Howard swung at the coach. And it was ugly, man. There's going to be some talk about Howard losing his job over this, maybe. And so it was shown during the handshake between Greg Gard and Juwan Howard is that Howard was saying something to Gard. And Gard grabbed Howard with his left hand to stop the Michigan coach from moving to the next person to shake hands with, which seemed to anger Howard. And then the two were separated before a Wisconsin assistant began shouting at Howard, and then Howard threw the punch at the guy. And then there's players on each side throwing punches at each other. This was about as ugly as an incident we've seen in college basketball in a long time. And now this is all of a sudden a rivalry between Michigan and Wisconsin that's even larger than it is now. It's going to be interesting if these teams face off in the Big Ten tournament in a couple of weeks. Or dare I say in the NCAA tournament even. And it was just an ugly scene, and I'm interested to see what the fallout is from this. I'm sure there's going to be suspensions. And it was really, really crazy of a scene. And obviously we're going to get into that once the suspensions come out and whatnot. Patrick Ewing gets a contract extension after the 2021 season. Looking back, at the time it was good, but now it doesn't look so good because of Georgetown's winless in the Big East. And Patrick Ewing's an interesting tale of the tape. He did a great job last year, but this year he's done terribly. Going winless in Big East plays. Like, how do you do that? Like, DePaul's in your conference, for crying out loud. Something funny happened in college basketball over the weekend. James Bouknight snuck into the student section after getting tossed from his courtside seats at the Huskies game. That was actually really funny. He's currently on the Hornets. The Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame finalists came out. It was really, really nice of the finalists and whatnot getting announced. And we have a good group. We got Leda Andrews, Swin Cash, Michael Cooper, Hugh Evans, Manu Ginobili, Tim Hardaway, Bob Huggins, Marquez Johnson, George Karl, Marianne Stanley, and Lindsey Wallen. That is a great group of guys. Former players and coaches on each the men's and women's sides. And it's really exciting for Bob Huggins, the West Virginia coach. Because I think he was one of the more underrated coaches, or has been one of the more underrated coaches over the last decade plus. I know West Virginia's been disappointing this year, but that doesn't take away of what a great coach Bob Huggins is. So I'm happy to see him get in. Manu Ginobili, well-deserved. Swin Cash was an amazing basketball player. George Karl, good coach. So I really like this class a lot. There's talk that Brady had issues with the Bucks, as there are things about the Bucks program that frustrated Brady before he announced his retirement. So that's interesting. And then Bruce Arians goes out and denies it. It has such bullshit. Roger Goodell likely to receive a new contract extension in the coming months. That's interesting, obviously. There are some things that Goodell has done good and some things he's done poorly. So it's been like a mixed bag for Goodell. You know how I feel about him. Sean McVay can get a $15 million TV deal, as he could be offered more than that for an NFL broadcasting role. But no one said he was leaving the Rams, first of all. So we don't know exactly what McVay's doing. If I'm McVay, go back to the Rams because I think that he still has a legit shot to repeat. NFL prospects may boycott as 155 players are prepared to announce a formal boycott of NFL scouting combine due to its quote-unquote bubble protocols. That's crazy. The NFL won't investigate the Cowboys with their $2.4 million settlement between the team and cheerleaders around the alleged voyeurism. So they just think that nothing was really wrong there, I guess. The Steelers hired Brian Flores as a senior defensive assistant and linebackers coach. I like this hire for Pittsburgh. I think this could be a nice soft spot for Flores for the time being. Maybe something happens with Tomlin, like later on, and maybe he'll be their future head coach. You never know with these kinds of things. Michael Jordan was not picked number 1 overall in the NBA 75 Ultimate Draft, as Dominique Wilkins was made the first pick instead of Michael Jordan, which was beyond stupidity. Jason Pierre-Paul had shoulder surgery, so that's interesting for whomever signs him. The college football playoff staying at 4 teams after expansion discussions. I think that's the right call. Memphis offers Hansel Emmanuel. So we'll see if he picks Memphis. There's a report out that the Major League Baseball pushed spring training and officially postponed spring training games through March 5th. Then the Players Association pushes back and says that they denied that the league had to postpone the start of spring training. So that's confusing. The Penguins re-signed Chad Rudewell 2-year contract extension worth $800,000 a year. So that's a nice contract extension for a role player. Coyotes Maple Leafs trade from the weekend. Nick Ritchie going from Toronto to Arizona, and Zingle and Lyubushkin go from Arizona to Toronto in a conditional draft and going to Arizona. So the Leafs get themselves some depth with that trade. Candace Parker welcomes her son as her and her wife announced the birth of their son, heir Larry Petrikov, which was really good. Congratulations to Candace and her family. Chris Paul earns the Kobe and Gigi Award as he receives the first ever Kobe and Gigi Bryant WNBA Advocacy Award for aiding in advancing women's basketball. So that's really neat for Chris. And bad news for Chris is that he's out 68 weeks with a fractured thumb that he suffered in that game against the Rockets. That's a brutal loss for the Suns. I think that this could cost them the 1 seed, but you never know with these kinds of stuff. Maybe Devin Booker steps up and Ayton, and they play well without him. But if they are to win the title, Chris Paul needs to be there and healthy and playing like Chris Paul. Jason Tatum was on JJ Redick's podcast as he sounds off on the critics suggesting that Boston should break up him and Jaylen Brown, which is a good listen. Daryl Morey's NBA playoff proposal that the league should have one and done playoffs with shortened season. Yikes. I don't know if I'd like that. The Bucks are locked in on their pursuit of Goran Dragic after he was bought out by the Spurs. So LeBron James, a lot of buzz from All-Star Weekend. He talked about a potential return to the Cleveland Cavaliers. The door's not closed on that, he says, during All-Star Weekend in Cleveland. And then he says he'll retire with Bronny, his son, as he says he wants to play the last year of his career wherever Bronny is. So, gotta keep an eye on that. So, Charles Barkley clowns Shams at the NBA 75 Ultimate Draft as he calls out Shams for trying to build hype around the MJ pick. There's no in-season tournament next year confirmed by Adam Silver, but they're still considering it for the future, so that's cool that they're still at least considering it. So Clutch apparently is not happy with the Lakers as source said a relationship reached a boiling point when Rob Pelinka turned down a Russ Wall trade. So that's very interesting. West Virginia quarterback commit Raheem Jeter says he was shot in a road rage incident, but Jeter says he is well and recovering, so that is really good that he's okay. The Anaheim Ducks fire assistant general manager Dave Nonis. So, I wonder what that was about. PHF Commissioner Ty Taminia resigned from Premier Hockey Federation, which was formerly the NWHL, as he will do that at the end of the playoffs this season. Rangers goaltender Igor Shesterkin, who's one of the favorites for the Vezina Trophy, was inches away from his first career goal as he tried for the empty netter in their win over the Senators yesterday. Emile Francis passes away yesterday as Gary Bettman released a statement mourning the loss of the Hall of Famer. Thoughts and prayers to Francis, his family, and teammates and such. That's a sad loss for the league. Donovan Mitchell missed the All-Star game due to an illness non-COVID related. Draymond Green rips Cleveland as he was interviewing Steph and he didn't hold back. Kevin Garnett had a reaction to Ray Allen during the NBA 75 as the look was still beef between the former Celtics teammates. God, they are still not over the fact that he left for Miami. Well, Ray Allen was smart because he knew the Celtics weren't any good, and Miami had LeBron at the peak of his powers. Non-COVID related news. Queen Elizabeth II tests positive for COVID, mild symptoms. Hopefully she'll be okay. Alec Baldwin and his family buy a 50-acre Vermont retreat, which is 200 miles from New York City. Obviously, Baldwin in the news for the wrong reasons over the past several months. And a movie that's topping the box offices right now, Mark Wahlberg and Tom Holland's movie Uncharted. That's a must-see according to a lot of people. All right, last but not least, my best bet of the day, brought to you by FanDuel. I really don't like going with lower tier college basketball conference games, but one just absolutely stuck out to me. Yep, and on Friday my best bet won with the Ivy League, Yale over Penn. But I'm going to go with the game in the MEAC, amazingly enough. I never really pick MEAC games. But I'm going to do it here. Laying points with good God. There's two that I really liked. I'm going to go with the home team here at NC Central. I'm going to lay a unit 4.5 with NC Central over Maryland Eastern Shore as my best bet of the day. It's minus 120, so I had the extra juice with this one. All right, so that's it for the show today. I'll be back tomorrow recapping everything from tonight, looking ahead to everything going on tomorrow. Maybe I'll do my first mock bracket of the year. And I'm thinking NFL mock draft maybe on Wednesday. And on Thursday, I might do the college football future coaches, similar to what I did with the 4 major sports over the summer. And then the same thing for college basketball on Friday. So we're going to have some activities this week, hopefully. All right, so I hope you guys have a wonderful day, everyone.